What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and I am here with the Season 4 Week 6 battle of the NPL, featuring my number 1 ranked in the power rankings, Toronto Star Raptors, at a 5-0 record against Togevoir's Portland Timburrs, number 2 in the power rankings with a 4-1 record. And this is looking to be a really good match, as he's been playing spectacularly all season. His draft is even better than how he's been playing, and quite frankly, the matchup's pretty tough for me this week, so I'm definitely looking forward to an excellent challenge from him this week. And let's go ahead and jump on into it. So looking at his team, he is featuring a very offensive core of Mega, Gardevoir, and Azumarill, both of which are very powerful against my team. And then he has Garchomp, Zapdos, Scizor, Cresselia, Teraki, and Volcarona, Nidoqueen, Melodic, and Hariyama. So just looking at his team as a whole, every single piece of his team has a strong niche against my team. And with that in mind, preparation this week is going to be the hardest it has been in all 6 weeks this season. I would say it's on par with the preparation I had to take part in all my games against Cheeseboy last season, in that my matchup is really rough. Just look at his defensive Pokemon, for example, Zapdos. Look at my team. What do I really have to counter Zapdos? All I have is Megalodios, as Zapdos can wall Clefable if it's running Toxic or Roar. It can wall Jirachi easily. It just beats Tentacruel. HP Ice beats Gliscor. Breloom doesn't want to take anything from it. Talonflame, I mean, Zapdos is the switch into Talonflame. Lucario can't do anything to it. Heliolisk can't do much to it. Sneasel can kind of do damage, but it's not strong enough to OHKO it. And Wob is Wob is Wob. So Zapdos alone is able to wall the majority of my team, and with that in mind, I need to make sure that I'm structuring my build such that I can make sure Zapdos cannot be an important factor. And in doing so, I'm actually going to be expecting him to bring Zapdos this week. I'm going to hinder it to the point where it's not effective, and then I intend to screw with his game plan a little bit there once I have Zapdos neutered. So that's kind of my game plan in the team building that I'll talk about here a little bit more soon. Other notable threats on his team, Scizor is a very big threat, as if you look at my first 3 picks in my draft, Megalodios, Clefable, Jirachi, Scizor beats all 3 of them, especially if he's running an Akaberry for the potential Fire Punch Jirachi or the Flamethrower Clefable. So Scizor is very powerful there. I only really have 3 potential responses to Scizor, those being Tentacruel, Gliscor, and where is he? And Talonflame. Gliscor is only sort of a response to it because it's not hard for a bulky Akaberry Scizor to set up in Gliscor's face and do a lot of damage with potentially Natural Gift Ice, with potentially even Hidden Power Ice, if he's a special Scizor for whatever reason, which Togevoir is capable of doing. His preparation is very, I don't want to say unpredictable because I do kind of know how he thinks, but it's not normal. It's not what you would expect from the average battler in this format, so I have to really respect all possible options coming from him in this upcoming battle, which really is exciting to me because this is going to be the most fun I've ever had team building. I guarantee that, because I have to respect every option, and that just magnifies why I like this format so much. I love being able to prepare for everything my opponent can bring, and the fact that I have to prepare for every possible set here is just really fun to me. But anyway, other notable threats to my team, Cresselia. Cresselia walls almost my entire team as well. And luckily, it's not that much of an offensive threat unless I let it become an offensive threat. So with that in mind, I should be able to keep it in check. However, it's just a little bit annoying that Cresselia alone really deters me from running my dual fighting core of Breloom, Lucario that I've been known for throughout this season. So I'm going to have to prepare a little bit differently this week than I have in the past, just because Cresselia is there. Volcarona also can be a threat if it's running like a Koba Berry, which is the flying resist berry, with Hidden Power Rock, as that would be an excellent counter to Talonflame. And just looking at his team, Talonflame is by far my most powerful offensive option against him. Yeah, he has Zapdos. Yeah, he has Cress. Yeah, he has really potentially defensive Nidoqueen, stuff like that. He has answers to it, and even Rocky Helmet Garchomp. But I do think that Talonflame still is my best offensive option against him, and I would not be surprised at all if he tries to run a lure of some sort for the Talonflame, potentially a Koba Berry, HP Rock, Volcarona. The rest of his team, I mean, it's all threatening, like I said before, so there's no slouches here. I have to prepare very carefully for every single one of his mons, and I'm really excited for the challenge. But let's go ahead and hop on over to the team builder so I can go in a little bit more detail here. Alright, so in beginning the team building process, I was thinking about the best possible Talonflame set for his team, as like I said before, I think Talonflame is the best overall Pokemon against him in the matchup, and I'll need to build my team around it in order to have any chance of winning this game because the matchup is that hard. But considering the fact that Talonflame does have such a great offensive matchup against his team, bar Zapdos of course, I thought that it was better to run a defensive set, because knowing how hard he prepares, or how solid his preparation is for his games, he's going to be ready for offensive Talonflame. I have no doubt he's going to have something very, very strong, a couple strong responses to offensive Talonflame. Therefore, I decided to run Stallbreaker. Stallbreaker has an excellent matchup, but really against the majority of his team, especially when there's a high chance of him trying to over-prepare for offense. That's just kind of the nature of the Stallbreaker set. In that this specific set, which is really common in OU, I'm sure you've seen it if you ever ladder on the OU ladder, is designed to just flat out stop Cresselia. Cresselia cannot do anything to me. He can even run Hidden Power Rock if he wants to, but if I don't have a special defense drop, I can easily stall out the Cresselia with this set. It also walls Melodics that aren't running Hydro Pump. If he's just running the standard Toxic Scald Melodic, this just hard walls it. Hariyama can't do much to me either. I believe it has access to Stone Edge, but other than that, Hariyama cannot do enough damage to me to where I'm that concerned. I don't think he'll run Stone Edge on it anyways if he brings it. Zapdos even cannot handle this very well, especially defensive Zapdos, because those tend to only run maybe a status move and then Thunderbolt or Volt Switch or both. And even so, a uninvested or lightly invested Thunderbolt from a defensive Zapdos cannot OHKO a Spit of Talonflame. So that's something that's very important, as well as the fact that I can go for a Roost if I have any damage on me whatsoever and have the damage of the super effective electric attack from Zapdos. So this set actually is going to be able to hold its own against a defensive Zapdos, which is really important this week. It also is good against the potential of a Sapsip or Azumarill for my Breloom. I think that's something that he actually could do. I don't think it's his best option against me, and I don't think he'll actually do it, but it is something I have to respect. And if I do see Azumarill in this matchup potentially with leftovers, then I do have to certainly respect the fact that it could be a Sapsip or Azumarill designed to counter my Breloom. So overall, Talonflame has a very strong matchup this week, and I am running a Charty Berry on this because I do highly anticipate a couple Hidden Power Rocks casually floating around his team, just because that's the kind of builder he is. And the Charty Berry also is nice because, well, it's nice to actually not have leftovers here, because I don't really want to always be at full health. I would love to be just below full health if possible, and just due to a lot of the calcs from his Pokemon against me, specifically the Nidoqueen, most notably the Nidoqueen, yeah, he can go for a modest Sludge Wave against me, and it does a little bit over 50%. It does like 55 to 60%, I believe. Or maybe that's timid Sludge Wave. Regardless, it's nice to be a little bit under 100%, because after a Roost, I'll be up to about 95%, and if he decides to pivot into Zapdos or something, I can Roost up on the Volt Switch or the Thunderbolt and take even less damage than I would have normally. So it's just nice to not have leftovers on it this week, and Charty Berry is just the perfect item for that purpose. This also makes sure that this Talonflame is 100% perfect switch into Volcarona, as if he does bring Volcarona, I have no doubt it will be Cobra Berry, which is the Flying Resist Berry, with Hidden Power Rock to counter my Talonflame or to catch my Talonflame off guard, but I'm not going to fall for that. So the Charty Berry definitely helps deter that a little bit. So overall, this set is just meant to break through his team. It's probably win condition #1 as long as I can keep rocks off the field, and I'm really excited to see how it works this week. The next up is my Jirachi. This Pokemon was 100% essential this week because he does have Mega Gardevoir, and this is obviously my only real switch into Mega Gardevoir. Yes, but if Talonflame can switch in against anything that's not named Psyshock from Mega Gardevoir, I guess I take a sizable amount from Thunderbolt as well, but as a spit out Talonflame, I'd still be able to survive a modest Thunderbolt from Mega Guard, so that's pretty cool too. But it's nice to have this Pokemon along for the ride, just because it is such a great switch into Mega Gardevoir. Even if he runs Shadow Ball, modest max special attack Shadow Ball does not 2-hit KO a max special defense Jirachi, and that's why I'm not bothering to speed creep anything this week. I'm just going max bulk here because I do need all that bulk to make sure that I'm not 2-hit KO'd by the Shadow Ball from Mega Gardevoir, so that's a thing. This also gives me an option to run Stealth Rock, as Stealth Rocks are very important against this team, particularly for the Zapdos and the Volcarona. Nothing else against the team is weak to Stealth Rock, but Stealth Rock damage is going to be really essential considering my primary win condition is a defensive Pokemon. Talonflame is going to need all the assistance it can get from Stealth Rock to make sure everything is in KO range of the Brave Bird in late game. So Stealth Rocks are essential here. Wish is also pretty nice because it does help my team regenerate a little better, as Clefable just did not have a very good matchup this week, considering he has easy switch-ins called Nidoqueen, he has Scizor, which switches in easily, he has Azumarill, which switches in pretty well. Really Melodic switches in well as well, because they can just run Haze rather, and just shut down any setup Clefable sets I could bring this week. So just Wish was a nice option. And then finally, really the masterpiece of this set, that is Trick with a Choice Band. This set is designed to neuter the Zapdos. That's going to be, besides Wall and Mega Gardevoir, that is the primary job of this Jirachi. And if you look at his team, his primary switch into Jirachi of any variety before he knows my set is Zapdos. So if I hold my moveset close to my chest to the point where he doesn't know what kind of set I am, to the point where he still has to respect that I could be a mixed Jirachi aimed at luring in one of his mons. His primary switch-ins are Cresselia and Zapdos, either of which I don't mind getting tricked. Obviously, I would much prefer to trick the Zapdos, because if Zapdos is tricked and Stealth Rocks are up, the rest of my team has a much better time, particularly Talonflame, but really my entire team. And if I can land that trick on Zapdos, I feel very confident in being able to come out on top this week, despite the matchup, just because Zapdos is certainly going to be something he relies on a lot defensively in this game. And if he cannot rely on his defensive wall, I think I can out-pressure him to the point where I can win this game. So Jirachi and Talonflame are the MVPs this week, without a doubt. Nothing else on this team really matters. If Jirachi and Talonflame do what they're supposed to do, I can win this game for sure. So next up is the Megalodios. Now, this set is a little bit unique, especially considering he is a Mega Gardevoir team, in that Hyper Voice does bypass substitutes. However, I still think my best option is to run Calm Mind, Substitute, Shadow Ball, Recover. 1, he does not have any resistances to Shadow Ball on his team. 2, Shadow Ball is super effective against Mega Gardevoir, and is also super effective against Cresselia. 3, my investment on this set is such that I can 1v1 a defensive Cresselia every time. I have enough investment to where whenever we are both at +6/+6 Calm Minds, we both, meaning my Megalodios and a defensive Cresselia with minimal special attack investment, my substitute cannot be broken by a Moonblast or by an Ice Beam or by a Shadow Ball from Cresselia. So I am able to, assuming he's a fully defensive Cresselia, 1v1 him every time, considering I have Substitute and Calm Mind and Recover. I cannot be crit down, and odds are that I will get a crit at some point in the exchange, therefore winning a Calm Mind war against Cresselia should it come to that. And additionally, this thing is very good against Zapdos, as until I get Zapdos neutered, or even once I get it neutered, I need to get guaranteed switch into it, and that is this Megalodios. There's nothing a Zapdos can do to Megalodios, especially this set, considering I'm running so much special bulk. There's just not a whole lot he's going to be able to do to me, which is pretty convenient here. So yeah, that's about all I really have to say about this. I am outspeeding base 100 neutral natures, so that would include modest Volcarona before boost, that would include a modest Mega Gardevoir. I don't think there's anything else on his team that reaches that point. That would be correct. I probably could have added a little bit more speed to Speed Creep and Adamant Garchomp, but I didn't really expect that to be something he wanted to do this week, so this probably is enough speed to take care of that. But that's about all I have to say about this. I did want to maximize the special bulk just so I could take hits from Nidoqueen as well, because just in general, Nidoqueen does do a lot of work to my entire team. So next up is a Speed Tentacruel. Now this is something that I have not run yet this season, but I thought this was really the perfect week to break this out, because keeping Stealth Rocks off the field is essential this week. It's absolutely essential. And Tentacruel also has the nice ability to run Acid Spray, which is going to, again, keep Cresselia in check, considering Acid Spray does drop the special defense of my opponent by 2 stages. This also gives me an additional check to a Volcarona, as if for some reason there's rocks on the field, Talonflame cannot completely counter Volcarona, or maybe I don't have enough HP to survive the Hidden Power Rock even after the Charity Berry, then this thing can actually do a lot of work to it, because I do not at all anticipate him to run Psychic on his Volcarona this week. He needs Bug Buzz and a Fire move, and probably Hidden Power Rock to be able to be effective this week, so Psychic is just not going to happen unless he's not running Quiver Dance. So with that in mind, this thing should be able to handle it very well. I have enough bulk to survive a +1 modest Fire, or 2 +1 modest Fire Blasts from the Volcarona, and I am running Clear Body as well this week instead of Liquid Ooze, because Giga Drain just doesn't make much sense against me, and Clear Body prevents him from getting special defense drops with Bug Buzz if he decided to go for that option. And then the coverage moves here allow me to hit 2-hit KO standard Nidoqueen, max HP, and then max special attack or attack Nidoqueen is always 2-hit KO'd by Surf from a Tentacruel with 24 EVs and special attack. So this EV spread's kind of special here. I have enough speed, of course, to outspeed neutral base 100s again, just like on the Megalodios, and then I have the rest in defense just so I can take hits from Azumarill, as this is going to be my primary switch into Azumarill so that I can scout what his set is. And of course Rapid Spin, because I need fast spin to let Talonflame shine this game. Next up is the Heliolisk. Heliolisk was kind of a it doesn't have an amazing matchup, I'll say that. It doesn't really kill anything, but I felt it was kind of essential in this game, because one, it's a hard check to Azumarill. If Azumarill sets up a Belly Drum or something, this thing just switches in. and I don't have to fear Aqua Jet because it would heal me. It would literally heal me. And then I could just kill it with an Expert Belt Thunderbolt or a Volt Switch. This also is nice against Garchomp, as I am speed creeping, I guess I'm speed creeping Terrakion here, but regardless, I do have Hidden Power Ice on this set, such that I can weaken the Garchomp to the point where it would be in Talonflame's KO range, and that's kind of important here, especially if you run something like an Assault Vest Garchomp, or even just a really bulky Garchomp. Hidden Power Ice certainly puts it in the range of my Talonflame or my Breloom, which I'll show here in a little bit, or also something like my Jirachi or Latios or something like that. So this thing is just kind of here to help whittle. It's not going to kill anything. I don't think it's going to kill anything. It's going to check a Azumarill if he brings a Azumarill, and I'll hold it really close to my chest if he brings a Azumarill. But its primary duty is to whittle. It also helps against Terrakion if he's a Swords Dance set or something like that. As, like I said, I am speed creeping that, and Surf does a ton of damage to a Terrakion that's not running a Posture Berry or something like that. So that's the idea with this set. And then finally, I have the Mew Draco himself, shout outs to anyone who understands that reference, a Choice Scarfed Breloom. Now this set is honestly only here because nothing else on my team made any sense to be in this slot. I tried so many different things here in this slot. For a long time I had Gliscor, and Gliscor did wall a lot of his team, but like I mentioned in the team overview, Gliscor just allows him to switch into really all of his threats at will, and that's not really something that I want to allow. So Breloom prevents that. Breloom is going to allow me to outspeed with a Choice Scarf Mecha Gardevoir and do a ton of damage with Bullet Seed. It's going to let me do a ton of damage to Nidoqueen with Bullet Seed, a ton of damage to Melodic, Hariyama, Volcarona with Brock Tomb, Terrakion with Bullet Seed, or Mach Punch. It does, if I get two 5-hit Bullet Seeds against Cresselia, I can knock out a defensive Cresselia. It's not great against Scizor. Scizor does wall this, but I do have I have responses to Scizor on this team, so that's fine. This is also good against Zapdos because I could Spore the Zapdos, which would be really just as good as tricking it a Choice Band. It also lets me Spore or Bullet Seed the Garchomp and do some damage to the Azumarill, hopefully, if he's not Sap Sipper. So overall, I thought this was a pretty effective Pokemon on this team. Scarf Spore is always nice. I don't really know what his response to Breloom is going to be. I don't think he really expects me to bring it because he does have so many responses to it, or really counters to it. But as long as I keep Zapdos in check, and if he doesn't have something like a Sap Sipper or Azumarill, I'm pretty sure Breloom's actually pretty good in this matchup. So we'll see how that goes. But I know I rambled a little bit on the team preview, or the team building process, but a lot of thought went into this team, and it is such an important matchup in this season that I felt it was worth it. And I hope you guys fully understand how I built the team and why I built it this way. And it'll make a lot more sense now that we get into the actual battle. So let's go ahead and jump on over to that now. Alright, so team preview is no surprise whatsoever. He brought really the team that I thought was the best combination of 6 mons he could have brought against me. The core that I was fully anticipating was the Scizor, Cresselia, Zapdos, Gardevoir, which, funnily enough, appear to be the first 6 Pokemon that he put on his team builder, so that's pretty funny. But yeah, and then he obviously brought the Nidoqueen as a response to the Clefable, which he must have expected me to bring this week, and I can't blame him. I brought Clefable many times this season. But then he also has the Garchomp, which at this point I'm expecting to be either a Rocky Helmet set for the SD Talonflame potential, or maybe, I think it's more defensive. It could be Scarfed, actually, against my team. Scarfed is pretty good, especially if he's expecting me to not bring Clefable, or if he thinks he has great answers to Clefable. But overall, I'm more expecting it to be a defensive set just because of the overall structure of his team. And with that said, looking at my lead matchup, I think my best lead is probably Breloom here, as Breloom is able to get off a Spore against anything on his team. There's a high probability that he has something with Safety Goggles, just knowing how he likes to prepare in these matchups, but I do think my best play is to lead Breloom and just Spore turn 1 and kind of see what happens here, because just looking at his team, I really don't see anything that wants to run a Lum Berry for 1, as Cresselia probably has a Resist Berry or leftovers, Scizor might be Banded, might be Life Orbed, it'll be something more offensive, or maybe Aqua Berry. I don't think Garchomp is Lum Berry here, I think it's going to be Rocky Helmet set, and Nidoqueen's Life Orb for sure. So with that in mind, the only thing that really could be Safety Goggles is the Zapdos, and if he switches into it, I have an easy switch in my Latios and etc. So Breloom is my best lead here in my opinion. So let's go ahead and jump on into the battle and see what happens. So I led off with my Breloom as he led off with Garchomp, which is okay, that's fine. I decided to just go for the Spore, and luckily he does not have the Lum Berry. So now Garchomp is asleep, but I really don't have a solid switch into Garchomp here. I think he's just going to go for something like Stealth Rock on this turn. So I go into my, or if he decides to wake up, so I go into my Heliolisk, and he gets the turn 1 wake or turn 2 wake up, and predicts my switch into it and goes for the Earthquake. So I'm down to a 5 to 6 disadvantage on turn 2, but that is quickly remedied by a convenient 5-turn Bullet Seed on turn 3. So just briefly, pausing here. I think the hacks did cancel off there in that situation, as if he stayed asleep on that turn, or stayed asleep for a second turn as I went into my Heliolisk, I would have gone for Hidden Power Ice on that turn, assuming he would have stayed in. And if he did stay in, he revealed after the match that he was an Assault Vest Garchomp, so he would have easily eaten up the Hidden Power Ice, taken probably 50 to 60% from it, probably 60%, and then I would have lost my Heliolisk most likely if he did not get a third turn sleep to an Earthquake. So then I would have gone to my Breloom again, click Bullet Punch or Bullet Seed. If he stayed in, I would have killed it anyway. So regardless, it was probably going to be a double down of Heliolisk and Garchomp in that situation anyway. So I don't think either of us are too concerned about that at this point. So continuing the battle, he goes into his Scizor on my Bullet Seed locked Breloom as I go straight into my Tentacruel to absorb whatever he wants to go for. He could have gone for a knockoff there, which would have been a good play if he had it, but he decides to just go for the U-turn into his Gardevoir. Now, I thought that was a pretty interesting play, considering if I were a Speed Tentacruel, I could have just gone for the Sludge Bomb there, but he apparently was scouting for that as well, and doubled into his Scizor, which also was a good play because it allowed him to Pursuit Trap my Jirachi coming in to wall the Gardevoir, so that was very good preparation on his part. Luckily, it does not appear to be a very heavily attack-invested Scizor this week, so that means I definitely have to respect the Hidden Power option in my further plays. So just going for the, I went for the Will-O-Wisp there, expecting the switch into Zapdos, which is great because now Zapdos is partially neutered. My job is not yet complete. Jirachi still needs to donate a Choice Band to its arsenal, and once I pull that off, I'll feel much better about this match. Now, knowing that he's probably going to underspeed me, I'm just going to go for the U-turn to see what he wants to do. I think U-turn is probably his only option to break my substitute, so I think it's my best play overall. And he does go into the Gardevoir. Now here, I make what might be a questionable play. I decided to go for the Shadow Ball, knowing that I definitely outspeed it before Mega Evolves, and I thought that if he was a fully offensive Gardevoir without any HP investment, that Shadow Ball puts him in range of Brave Bird from the Talonflame. That was the whole thought process there, but it turns out he's actually max HP, and that Shadow Ball does very little damage, and he is still not yet in Brave Bird range from the uninvested Talonflame, so I do need to get more damage on Gardevoir at some point in the game to be able to win this game with Talonflame at all. I'm at a pretty stout disadvantage at the moment, but I decided to go into my Dragic here and go for game plan A, and it does work out as I'm able to scare off the Gardevoir into his Zapdos as I go for the trick, giving it the Choice Band, and now Zapdos is finally neutered, and I don't have to be that concerned about it anymore this game. Now here I'm going to go for my Stealth Rock because I definitely need the Stealth Rock in order to win this game. I'm going to go for the Wish first, okay. Probably should have gone for Stealth Rock on that turn, honestly, but I went for Wish anyways just to try to get health back up, just depending on what he switched in, and I do go into my Tentacruel here as I could have taken any hit from it, and even if you went for the Earth Power, I did have a Shuka Berry on this to absorb it and do a lot of damage to it. Now here, I reveal that I outspeed the Nidoqueen, and he goes for Earth Power, Shuka Berry is revealed, and no harm done. And now my best play is definitely to go for the Rapid Spin because, like I said, I need to Talonflame is the win condition this entire game. Talonflame is the only way I'm going to win this game, considering the matchup. So I go for the Rapid Spin there, sacrifice my Tentacruel when I could have killed the Nidoqueen. It was already, after Rapid Spin damage, in range of Brave Bird from Talonflame, at least heavily in my favor as far as the roll is concerned. So I feel pretty confident about sacking my Tentacruel here and just going for the win with Talonflame. So Tentacruel goes down, and now I'm going to just go straight into Talonflame, and I might as well click Brave Bird. He has no real good switch-ins to it, and I do get the roll in my favor and take out the Nidoqueen here. So now he has his Cresselia he tries to switch in. Now here I'm obviously just going to go for the Taunt, as I don't want him to do anything too cheeky. If he does have Hidden Power Rock, then he can try to go for it. I do have the Chardy Berry, I'm not that concerned, and going for Taunt here on the Zapdos will force him to go for Volt Switch on this turn, so I'm going to go for the Roost, expecting that. And slowly but surely, the Zapdos is getting worn down to the point where it shouldn't be that effective against me. Now here, he goes into his Guard, and I did a Calc, and I cannot kill this Guard from this range if he is max HP, which he is. The damage Calc already confirmed that. So I'm going to sack my Breloom here instead of going straight into my Jirachi, which is kind of an interesting play on my end, and I wanted to explain it a little bit here. He had only revealed Hyper Voice and Psyshock. I think at this point he'd only revealed Hyper Voice, actually, and he obviously was going to have Psyshock. I was fully convinced that he was going to have Shadow Ball on his Gardevoir this game. And if he had Shadow Ball, then switching to Jirachi there would have been a joke, because I need Jirachi at this amount of health to make sure that I could survive a modest Shadow Ball from Gardevoir. So I had to sack my Breloom there, even though Breloom still had a decent matchup against his whole team. But it was just overall my best play. So now scared out the Gardevoir into his Cresselia, which is fine. I'm going to be able to start getting leftovers recovery now on this Jirachi, which is even better in this situation. And I'm just going to go for the Stealth Rock, as there's nothing a Cresselia really can do to me. And he reveals Toxic. So now it comes down to a 50-50 in that I can stay in and keep Iron Heading this thing, knowing that there's an off chance that I can wear this thing down with Ironhead flinches rather, and win the game that way by taking out Cress and then walling out the rest of his team with Talonflame. There's also the chance that I can try to get my Talonflame in and taunt this thing and just try to win that way. But if he predicts that and gets my Talonflame with a Toxic on the switch in, then I lose automatically. So it's really tough here these next few plays, and we'll just kind of watch how it turns out. I go for Ironhead on the first turn here. I get the flinch, which is pretty nice, and my thought process was that if I can convince him that I'm just going to try to flinch him down, then he's going to be stuck in a false sense of security and just try to set up a Shadow Ball or Calm Mind or something against my Jirachi. And here, on the third turn, I thought he would go for Calm Mind or Shadow Ball. He does go for Calm Mind, so I'm able to get my Talonflame in for free, and as long as he isn't a modest Psyshock variant, clicking Taunt here ensures that I cannot be beaten 1v1 with this Cresselia. So we're in a pretty good situation right now. We're down 4-2, but Talonflame is in a very, very, very good spot here because I can just go for the Roost here, expecting him to just keep clicking Shadow Ball or maybe switch out. And now I have exactly one play, and that is to taunt, because I cannot let him defog away the Stealth Rock, because I need the Stealth Rock damage on Mega Gardevoir to have any chance of taking it out with Brave Bird from Talonflame. In fact, the Brave Bird damage, the damage calc said that I had I believe it was like an 80% chance after Stealth Rock to be able to take out a max HP Gardevoir with this Talonflame set. So it was very tight, and I do get the roll again, which is really nice. It wasn't my favor, so it's not hacks, but it was nice. It was very nice to be able to pull that off here. Now, I have to go for taunt. If he gets a critical hit with Shadow Ball, I can feint here. Actually, no, it doesn't look like it could have, so that's fine. But the taunt does prevent the Cresselia from being a threat at all to me. And I just go for the Roost, and now I'm going to try to go for the Will-O-Wisp because I need the burn damage on this to be able to wear it down. I do miss the first Will-O-Wisp, which is a little bit unfortunate, but eventually I'll be able to land it. And yeah, so it gets a little bit stally at this point, but I guess that's the nature of the Stall Breaker Talonflame. I have to play it this way because there's really no other way, given the mons I have left on my team, to take down the Talonflame. But once I taunt it and burn it, then it's just going to slowly wear itself down to the point where Talonflame will be able to stall it out. Now, I am going to speed up this little bit just because I do eventually knock down the Cresselia with this set. But it does take a little bit of time because I can't really directly attack it for fear, at least when I'm at low HP, for fear of the Brave Bird recoil plus a crit Shadow Ball taking me out. So I do get a critical hit with Brave Bird there, which is nice. It kind of speeds up the process a little bit. His only way to really win at this point is to get a bunch of special defense drops with Shadow Ball, and really he would need like 4 of them to have a good shot of pulling it off here. Here was actually a little bit scary because, at that turn 39, because if he had gotten a crit with Shadow Ball with all those special defense drops, I think he could have taken me out. Luckily, that does not happen, and I'm able to survive and get myself back up to nearly full HP. And as you can see, I'm now at -3 special defense, so that's a little bit scary as well. But yeah, I'm just going to go for the taunt again, preventing him from doing anything recovery-wise or Calm Mind-wise or Toxic. Toxic's the main thing. I cannot get Toxic if I'm going to win this game. And as long as he's taunted, Talonflame should be able to stall this out without much issue whatsoever. And that's wonderful. So now he's in Brave Bird range finally. I'm just going to take him out, and all he has left is the Scizor and the Zapdos. There's still an outside chance that he can win with Scizor if he does have knockoff and I miss my Will-O-Wisp. And I do miss my Will-O-Wisp, and fortunately he just goes for Hidden Power Ice, expecting me to hit my Will-O-Wisp. So I thought that was kind of funny though. This is a special attacking Hidden Power Ice Scizor designed to beat my Gliscor. So I'm really bad I did not bring Gliscor this week. It also was Octoberry, I believe, so he would have just flat out blown back the set that I was originally thinking about bringing, which was an SD Fire Thing set. So really glad I switched in Berlin for that slot here at the last minute. But now knowing that he is burned, there's nothing he can do to my Jirachi holding leftover, so I'm just going to switch it in and spam Ironhead. And guys, the Toronto Staraptors are 6-0. We took out the Portland Timburs 4-1, number 2 in the power rankings. We took them out 2-0 despite the matchup, and really without much hacks. There was a 1-turn sleep on his end, and there was a 5-hit bullet seed on my end. That was really the extent of it. There were a couple rolls that were really crucial, but they were both in my favor. Great game. That's all I really have to say. Great game, dude. You played very well, Toj. It was everything that everything that we were expecting the game to be. In my opinion, I think you played well. I think I played well, and we really can't ask for anything more than that in a heavyweight matchup like this. So thanks for the great match. Thanks for preparing so well, and really thanks for the opportunity to play against a team and coach as great as you are. So that was very, very entertaining and exciting for me. But yeah, the Toronto Staraptors are 6-0, plus 21 differential. We are the only undefeated team in the league. #1 in the power rankings, I'm sure. And next week we play Dave Fernape and the Montreal Cobalions. They are a 1-win team or 2-win team, I believe. And he's got a good squad. He's had a little bit of bad luck in his battles, and he's made a couple mistakes in his battles, which has made his record be a little bit worse than it probably should be. But it's gonna be a heck of a game. I'm sure it is, because my matchup's not bad. It's not a bad matchup. It's probably pretty neutral, but his team is really good, so it's not going to be easy preparation-wise at all. But I'm gonna stop rambling. This has been a really long video, but it was a really hyped battle, so I thought it was warranted. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you all in Week 7 as we put our undefeated record on the line yet again. Peace.